Welcome, traveler. Tonight, we drift into the black quiet where engines no longer hum, where hulls groan like old trees, and where nothing alive should stir. You, of course, are the exception. You awaken to the faint click of decompression valves and the hum of dying systems. The cryostasis pod opens with a wheeze like the last breath of a ghost. Your skin prickles with cold, not just from temperature, but from something else, something deeper. The lights above flicker in a rhythm that suggests they're trying their best, but would rather not be here either. You're floating aboard the Icarus still, a human research vessel lost decades ago near the event horizon of a collapsed star, not orbiting, drifting, which is concerning, because the nave thrusters were supposed to keep it in place. Let's be honest, you'd probably get vaporized in the first 5 minutes if this were real. Good news, you're just here for the story, not the radiation. The air tastes metallic, like it's been recycled too many times through filters no one's changed. A weak gravity field hums underfoot, but it hiccups every few seconds, like a drunk stumbling down memory lane. There are no voices, no footsteps, just you, and something breathing slow in the vents. If you end up liking this quiet little corner of the galaxy, feel free to subscribe and leave a like, but only if it genuinely makes your evening better. Tell me where and when you're listening from. I always love seeing the spread across the stars and time zones. Now, lower the lights. Maybe let a soft fan hum in the background, and let's begin the drift into tonight's quiet orbit. You take your first step out of the pod. Bones creak, muscles complain, but there's something off. Your body doesn't feel entirely like your own, longer in places, thinner in others. Your reflection in the polished cryo-glass shows eyes with a shimmer of bioluminescence. That's new. The console blinks with a simple message: reboot complete. Welcome back. Designate Adaptive Unit 17. Mutation cycle in progress. Do not interrupt. Your stomach turns. A sliver of memory slides in, just a voice, feminine, calm, saying, "If this works, you won't be human, but you'll be alive." The ship groans again, louder this time. Panels rattle. Somewhere, a pipe bursts. The proximity to the neutron star means the hull is under relentless pressure, time itself curling at the edges. Some physicists once called this region the gravitational whisper zone. That same physicist also vanished. So, grain of salt. You walk the empty corridors. Walls are lined with sleeping pods, most of them sealed. A few aren't. One pod is shattered from the inside, as if something clawed its way out. There's dried blood, or what looks like it, on the ceiling above. It scrawled with a trembling hand, "We didn't die, we change." The hallway narrows toward the central core. Emergency lighting pulses red every 8 seconds, enough to make you feel like you're inside a mechanical heartbeat. There's a soft chime ahead, and then, as if summoned by your footsteps alone, the ship's AI activates. A projection fizzles. Into view a skeletal humanoid figure, faceless, featureless, made entirely of light fractals. "Hello, Adaptive Unit 17, it says, voice gravelly, like someone trying to gargle through static. "You are the last to wake. Mutation is at 62%. Don't scratch your arms, it'll slow the growth." You glance down. Your forearms shimmer faintly under your skin, like something's moving. Like veins made of mercury. "Where is everyone?" you ask, surprised your voice still works. "Adapted, left, or did not complete the process." The AI pauses, as if confused. Error margin exceeds acceptable limits. Recommend, locate memory core. Deck C4. You reach the elevator shaft. Power's dead. So, you climb. The ladder is warm, not from heat, but radiation leakage. Your gloves fuse slightly with the metal. Peeling them off takes some skin with it, no blood. Just a clear fluid that smells like ozone and mint. Neat. By the time you reach Deck C4, you're not sure how long it's been. Time dilates strangely near collapsed stars. 1 second can stretch into a poem. Or a panic attack. The memory core room is locked with a biometric seal. You place your hand on the panel, Expecting rejection. Access granted. Recognized. Humanity. 3.10. You step inside. The air smells older here, like burnt plastic and forgotten breath. In the center of the room, surrounded by cables that slither like roots, stands the core, a massive sphere of obsidian glass. You touch it. The room shifts. A flood of images surge through your mind. Earth, burning. Orbitals, failing. Council ships turning away. A single vote, too volatile. Not worth saving. Your species was declared incompatible, not because you were weak, because you were unpredictable. You were supposed to go extinct quietly, like so many before. But someone had another idea. The adaptation protocol, humanity's last trick. The voice returns clearer now. A scientist, eyes-tired, whispering into the recorder. If you're hearing this, it means you've survived first-stage mutation. We didn't build a cure? We built evolution. Fast-forwarded, it will hurt, but you will live. And you'll remember who made you monsters. The transmission ends. You sit in silence for a moment, feeling your pulse echo in strange rhythms. Your hands are no longer just hands. Your vision sees a little into infrared now. You smell carbon through metal. The AI crackles back to life. Mutation at 68%. Recommend planetary surface exposure. You must continue. You sigh. There's always another step. Always one more thing to adapt to. But the worst part, you're starting to feel at home. The launch bay doors shudder as they open, stiff from disuse, screaming like steel dragged across glass. A low groan echoes through the belly of the Icarus still as atmosphere hisses out into the void, sucked into the mouth of the cosmos. You step forward, boots magnetized to the deck plating, visor fogging slightly as the systems adjust to your presence. A shuttle rests on the platform, coated in a thin dusting of something. Not ice, not ash, more like dried skin. You brush it off absently, only to watch it slither back toward the air intake vents. Lovely. You climb in. The pilot's seat greets you like an old lover with memory loss, buttons faded, some unresponsive, and the seat cushion far too warm for a supposedly lifeless cockpit. The AI reappears in your HUD. Destination. Designated test world Theta 3. Atmospheric composition. Unbreathable. Terrain. Corrosive. Life forms. Irrelevant. Sounds welcoming. You mutter. The engine's light. Up with a sigh that feels older than you. Probably is. You barely register the shuttle dropping from the ship's underbelly and into the quiet throat of space. It's not a far descent. Theta 3 rotates lazily below, cloaked in greenish clouds that churn like rotting milk. Lightning arcs in lazy, spiraling bursts across its upper atmosphere. You drift down through that violent mist, shields flaring with every acidic droplet that kisses the hull. Touchdown is rough. The shuttle sinks a few inches into ground that bubbles beneath it somewhere between mud and bone. You step outside, and your lungs seize. Air like fire floods your helmet. Your rebreather shrieks in protest. The filters can't keep up. You crumple, knees hitting ground, and for a moment, just a moment, you think, this is it. They were right, we can't survive this. But then, something cracks. Inside you, not metaphorically, your ribs stretch, lungs shudder, twist, expand. The pain is a tsunami, but your body moves with it, riding it like an old instinct. You scream, but the sound curdles halfway through your throat and becomes something else, something deeper. You gasp. And this time, you breathe in the acid, and it feels tolerable. The first adaptation. You lie there for hours, minutes, staring up at the sky while phosphorescent clouds drift like jellyfish. You hear a bird call. Overhead, it sounds like a modem dying, but it's a sound nonetheless. Life exists here. A small creature scuttles near your foot. It looks like a mix between a beetle and a spoon. It hisses at you, then flips upside down and dies. Not everything's a winner. Your suit diagnostics ping softly in your ear. Mutation 71% complete. Lung conversion successful. External dermal layer. Beginning excretion adaptation. Great. You're going to sweat acid-resistant goo now. Sexy. You push to your feet. The land stretches out in every direction like a fungal plain. Thin stalks sway without wind. A mountain range pulses in the far distance. Like it's breathing. You walk. Each step feels lighter. Gravity here is lower than Earth's. Or, be your thus getting stronger. Either way, you start to enjoy the rhythm left, right. Inhale. Adapt. Eventually, you reach what used to be a human outpost. Now, it's a rib cage, not literally but close. The outer structure has buckled outward, resembling the bones of something enormous. Rust-colored vines climb the walls. The door is gone, replaced with a membrane that puckers as you approach. You hesitate. Don't be rude. The AI mutters in your ear. You step through. It shivers around you. Inside, darkness, cold, and rows of cryopods like yours, except every single one is shattered. Some from within, some from the outside. You walk past the first, then the second, then stop at the third. Inside, a skeleton, small, wearing a necklace with a digital locket still flickering. You open it, a child's face, laughing, missing a front tooth. A note plays, to Mommy, who said we'd fly forever. I hope you're still flying. You turn away, too fast, and nearly trip over something growing from the floor. A root. Maybe. But it's soft, and humming. You kneel. It's not a root. It's a neural cable, feeding something. You follow it down into the bowels of the outpost, deeper than it should go. The architecture becomes twisted, less built, more grown. Walls pulse. Temperature climbs. Your skin begins to shimmer again. You arrive in the heart of it. A single chamber. At its center, a sphere black and mirrored, floating above the ground. Wires pulse from it into the walls like arteries. Your visor cracks a little, just enough to smell ozone and rot. Then the sphere speaks. Not with sound. With memory. Your mind floods with images. Earth cities overgrown with crimson moss. Oceans boiling quietly under green skies. Humans walking on all fours with eyes like planets. All still, alive, but not human. You understand now. The protocol worked too well. It didn't just adapt humans to survive. It freed the body from the species. Unlocked possibilities that would have taken evolution millennia to reach. You are no longer a single organism, you're a suggestion the universe is starting to take seriously, and it terrifies the stars. The AI breaks the silence. Recommendation: continue surface exposure. Neural drift increasing, beneficial mutations. You laugh, bitter and low. I just breathed acid and found a memory sphere in a flesh chamber. What counts as beneficial? The AI doesn't answer. You step outside again, into air that once killed you. The sky pulses, your bones itch with new growth. And for the first time since waking, you realize you're not here to survive this planet. You're here to make it yours. The storm hits at twilight, if you can call the dimming of a green sky twilight. Lightning doesn't streak. It coils. You watch it slither horizontally across the sky like a massive glowing centipede, weaving its way between clouds that look suspiciously vertebral. Your skin tingles, not in the poetic way, in the something is crawling beneath it way. Shelter, and far. The remnants of a survey tower jet from the plains like a broken tooth. Half collapsed, leaning at an angle that makes your inner ear suspicious, but you scramble up into it anyway. The steel is warm to the touch, softening at the edges like it's been digesting the wind. As you settle, your body buzzes with a low-frequency hum. You realize it's not external, it's your cells. They're talking to each other. Mutation level, 78%. Nervous system patterning, branching. Sympathetic interface imminent. You blink. Sympathetic interface. You ask aloud. Watching the storm paint shadows on the horizon, the AI flickers into your visor like a polite cough. You are becoming partially decentralized. Future pain will be distributed across auxiliary pathways. That's one way to say I won't feel things in one place anymore. Correct. The rain starts. Not drops. Needles. Each one hisses as it hits the tower's surface. Your armor shrinks in response, adapting, thickening in places you didn't know could thicken. Your hands curl involuntarily, nails darken, joints click. You can smell the storm now. It smells like copper and old tears. There's movement below. Shapes. 3 of them. Human silhouette adjacent, but not quite right. Limbs longer than they should be. Heads cocked at unnatural angles, like they're listening to a frequency you can't hear. Yet they look up at your tower and wave. Well, to wave. One just vibrates. You don't wave back. Instead, you watch them circle the tower base once, then again, then vanish into the darkness. The AI hums, like it's tapping its chin. Those are likely the others, partial mutates from early-stage adaptation cycles. Are they hostile? Technically, no. Technically, you whisper, they do not define hostility as you once did. Sleep doesn't come easily that night. Every rustle feels personal. Every breath echoes too loudly. But at some point, fatigue overrides fear, and your eyes drift closed. You dream of scaffolding, endless metal bones, rising into nothing. You're climbing them with dozens of others, each one slightly wrong. Some with translucent skin, others with tendrils instead of legs. But all climbing, all humming the same note. And then, you wake. Too? Silence, and a datapad in your lap. You didn't bring a datapad. The screen flickers on automatically. Project. Organ DUST Genesis Variant Status. Active Authorized Access. Unit 17. Final Candidate to Scroll. It's not just data. It's confession. Scientist named Dr. Lena Merrick, head of Adaptive Biosystems. She narrates, her voice fractured with age and regret. We were losing, not to war, not to disease, just time. The universe didn't want us, we were too specific, too fragile. The council offered sterilization, a graceful exit. We declined. So, we built the dust, nanite-based, quantum adaptive. Every atom learns. Every cell writes its own future. We thought it would mold us into survivors, but it didn't mold, it liberated. People stopped being people. They became possibility. If you're seeing this, you're the last one. The dust liked you, or feared you. Hard to say. She ends the recording with a laugh. Soft, broken. They thought we'd die. I thought so, too. Turns out, extinction isn't as tidy as they hoped. The datapad clicks off. You sit with that for a while, watching the horizon as the storm dies. Acid puddles steam and bubble. A creature drifts past transparent skin, its organs visible and pulsing. It glances at you with 9 eyes and keeps moving. You descend the tower. Your joints move differently now. Less hinge, more glide, more adaptive. At the base, you find something unexpected, a symbol, carved into the metal with precision, a human, HANDPRINT. Below it, a phrase, we did not evolve, we were unchained. You press your hand to the symbol. It glows, a low pulse ripples through the ground. The plane ahead of you begins to shift, as if responding to your presence. Far in the distance, the landscape rises a hill that wasn't there before. Or, it was always there, waiting to be noticed. Your internal systems ping again. Neural pathways expanding. Adaptive resonance achieved. Recommendation: proceed to anomaly. Further mutation inevitable. You sigh, because of course it is. The air feels thinner now, but your lungs pull it in easily. Your blood has changed. You can sense it. Thicker, smarter. You walk. The tower behind you shivers once, then folds in on itself, like a structure completing its purpose. You don't look back. You walk toward the anomaly, toward the hill that moves when you're not watching it, toward the thing the dust wants you to find. You're starting to understand something terrifying. You're not becoming more human. You're becoming what comes after. You reach the base of the anomaly, just as the second sun rises, or rather, unveils itself. Theta 3's atmosphere is dense. And sunrise feels more like someone peeling back a lid on a jar of bioluminescent soup. Light doesn't shine, it bleeds, spilling through clouds in gelatinous streaks that ripple across the terrain. The hill ahead of you, in a hill, it breathes. You stop walking. Its surface expands, contracts, and just once you swear you see an eyelid flicker open along its slope. A moment later, there's nothing but shifting soil and quivering moss. The AI crackles into your earpiece. Biostructure identified, not native. DNA signature, Earth-based. You blink. Earth-based, we sent. That, negative. It is likely the result of adaptive recursion. You grunt. In English, you grew this. Oh, well, you stare at the breathing hill. It's covered in tendrilless roots, some twitching at your presence. There's a pathway forming literally, forming as you approach. Moss and flesh roll aside, parting to reveal an opening. It smells like lemon and soldering iron, that particular mix of clean and wrong. Inside, warmth. Pockets of soft blue light throb along the walls. The floor is cushioned, like walking on an old memory foam mattress that's learned too many secrets. A low vibration sings through the structure, low enough that it hums in your teeth. You keep going. The path spirals downward, deeper than the hill should physically allow. And along the walls, shapes begin to emerge. Murals, maybe, except they shift when you blink. Fluid impressions, human forms, then hybrid ones, then something entirely abstract, spindles of thought, fractal emotions rendered in organic lines. Your fingertips brush the surface. It's soft, alive, but not dangerous. It knows you. You reach a central chamber, circular, high ceiling. At the center, a pedestal. Growing from it is a flower, or something flower adjacent. 12 petals of translucent carbon membrane, each one holding a different image suspended within like snapshots frozen in amber. You step closer. The petals react to your presence. One unfurls. Inside, a memory. Yours. You, as a child, sitting beneath a synthetic tree in a Martian dome, listening to your mother hum through a broken harmonica. You haven't thought about that in decades. The image pulses, then vanishes. Another petal opens, a different memory, but not yours. A man older, stern, arguing with a room full of people in council robes. He slams his hand on a table. You think survival about compromise. It's not. It's about change. Not slow, not graceful, fast, ugly, relentless. We adapt, or we die. There's nothing poetic about it. Then the scene melts. You touch the pedestal. Suddenly, you're inside the memory. Watching Earth's final council meeting. They voted not to submit to galactic genetic standardization, refuse sterilization, refuse containment. They chose instead to disappear and to send out 26 vessels, each with a different adaptation algorithm. Each one a gamble. You were on Unit 17. You never made it to your assigned colony because the dust changed plans and changed you. Back in the chamber, a final petal opens. You see your face, but older, different, not human. And in front of you, a crowd, not just humans, beings from other species, all watching, all waiting for you to speak. The image fades. You don't know what it means. A prediction, a possibility, a warning. You leave the pedestal behind. The walls hum a little louder now, as if proud, and behind you, the chamber begins to collapse, not in panic, but in conclusion. Mission complete. As you exit the hill, that breathing, memory holding construct, you notice something new. The sky. It's changed, not in color. In pattern. Clouds have formed a spiral centered on your position, as if the planet itself is tracking you, not passively, not with malice, just observing. A new message pings in your HUD. Organ dust protocol phase to unlocked. External morphology no longer fixed. Begin environmental integration. You feel it immediately. Your fingers ache. You watch as one of them splits, briefly, into two smaller tendrils before reforming. No blood, no pain, just change. There's no stopping it now. You're becoming an interface, not a creature on the planet. A creature of it. And somewhere inside you, a strange calm takes root. Not peace. Just purpose. You return to your shuttle. It's partially melted from the rain. Doesn't matter. You won't need it much longer. But the AI insists. There is one more location of interest. It says, a site marked by previous adaptive units. Coordinates loaded. We recommend travel before you forget how ships work. You pause at that. Not if, but when. How long before steering a shuttle feels unnatural? How long before walking on legs feels quaint? How long before language becomes obsolete? You shake the thought, climb into the cockpit, input the coordinates. The engines respond to your touch, but barely, as if questioning your authority. You mutter, I'm still the captain. They begrudgingly agree. You lift off. From above, the breathing hill exhales one last time and vanishes beneath the soil. You're not sure if it's hiding, or if it simply went back to sleep. Either way, you know this, they thought you'd die here. Instead, the planet welcomed you, and you are learning how to speak its name. The sky is different at altitude. From up here, the clouds of Theta 3 reveal their hidden bones, long chains of floating mineral structures woven through the upper atmosphere like airborne coral reefs. Lightning dances along them like curious fingers. The planet isn't just alive, it's designed. Not by architects, but by evolution gone poetic. Your shuttle groans in protest as you guide it toward the new coordinates. The cockpit lights dim and flicker. You're not sure if it's the radiation or the ship rejecting you like an immune response to something no longer entirely pilot-shaped. You glance at your reflection in the VIWPO or T. Your pupils are vertical now. A soft glow clings to your skin, like faint bioluminescence trapped just beneath the surface. You run a hand down your face, and your skin ripples gently, adjusting to your touch. It doesn't feel wrong. It just doesn't feel. You below. The coordinates lead you to a canyon, split in the shape of a neural fissure. From orbit, it resembles a brainstem, long, winding, pulsing faintly under the surface. You set the shuttle down at its edge. The moment your boots hit the surface, you feel it, a pressure. Not physical, mental, like the air is thinking around you. You step forward. The cliffs are smooth, carved by something more precise than wind. Faint etchings line the walls, circuits or veins, or maybe both. Every few meters, you spot markings burned into the stone, handprints, spirals, crude attempts at faces. Some human, some not quite. You recognize one pattern repeated along the path, a circle, split down the middle, one side bone, one side root. You don't know what it means. Yet the path leads you to a hollowed space in the canyon wall, another chamber. But this one wasn't made by dust or design. It was dug by hands, clawed, trembling, desperate hands. Inside, you find them. Others. Not people. Not anymore. They sit in a circle around a slow-burning mineral flame, its light casting a soft pulse like a dying heartbeat. Their bodies are elongated, curved, covered in patches of exoskin and moss. One has eyes in their palms, another lacks a mouth, but breathes in bursts through slits along its ribs. They turn toward you as one. They do not move, they do not speak, but you feel them. In your skull. You came back. The voice is collective, genderless, ancient, like fog wrapped around bone. I don't think we've met, you whisper. We are what you will be, if you choose it. We stayed, we rooted, we adapted past speech, past name, past human. Your heart pounds, but it's not fear, it's resonance. Your cells buzz in response to theirs. You feel your jaw twitch, your spine stretch slightly. They gesture to the center of the circle, a space made for one more. You step into it. And sit. It's warmer here. The flame doesn't give off heat, but memory. Images flow into your mind, desert storms filled with voices, stars blinking Morse code into your dreams, flesh, reshaping itself into tools, shelters, language. You see a man split open like a chrysalis and walk out of himself. They said we would die, the voice murmurs, but death is a species definition. We chose to expand. One of them reaches toward you, not to touch, but to link. A thin filament of light extends from their forehead toward yours. You don't move. It connects. And suddenly, you are all of them. You feel the memories, dozens, hundreds stacked like sediment. A woman who lived for 100 years under sulfuric rain, her skin becoming scales. A child who burrowed into a glacier to survive, his breath freezing into crystalline lungs. A man who swallowed a black fungus and saw the past and future layered over his vision like shattered glass. You pull back. Gasp. Tear the connection. You are you again. But changed. Their leader, a tall being whose chest pulses like a heartbeat, split into thirds, tilts its head. You carry the protocol. But you still carry resistance. You nod. Maybe that's what makes me human. Silence. Then a sound. Laughter. Soft, dissonant, musical. One by one, the others begin to hum. A low, vibrating note that curls around your bones. Not a threat, a farewell. You stand. They don't stop you. But as you leave, the leader speaks once more. You will be many things. Some will worship you. Some will try to cage you. But none will understand what you chose to become. You step into the canyon again. The air feels heavier, but you feel lighter. Your skin itches along your back. A pressure, something wanting to emerge. You suppress it. For now, you return to the shuttle. As you lift off, you see them below gathered once more around the mineral flame, unmoving, undying, waiting for whatever comes next. The AAS voice returns. You have completed site visitation. Mutation now at 89%. Do you wish to initiate the next phase? You pause, glance down at your hands, and whisper, "Let's see how far this goes." The shuttle drifts beyond Theta 3's sky, leaving the atmosphere like a peeled layer of old skin. You're back in the dark now, comfortably, unsettlingly so. The stars feel closer out here, sharper, like they're watching you through cold lenses, waiting to see what your next form will be. The AI doesn't speak for a long while, neither do you. Your thoughts are too loud. Not just yours, actually, you're beginning to hear echoes. Not voices, exactly, but impressions. Thought-shaped lines brushing through your consciousness. Curiosity, recognition. Once, briefly, fear. You reach the outer ring of a derelict relay network, an old, spinning satellite from Earth's earliest expansion days, now little more than a shell of blinking lights and decaying code. The kind of place where signals go to die. But something is broadcasting here. You dock manually. The satellite doesn't respond to standard hails, and your shuttle's systems seem reluctant to touch it. So, you pull yourself through the airlock, with gloves that have started secreting resin, helpful, if a little unnerving. Inside the relay, silence, until you pass the threshold of the primary control chamber. Then, a chorus, a thrum in the walls. Low, harmonic, your vision flickers. The console screens light up, one by one, revealing phrases in dozens of languages, many you recognize. Others you don't, but one word repeats in all of them. Adapted. You step forward. The central console activates. A smooth tone chimes, followed by an interface that blooms across your vision like a flower, folding open. And then it speaks. Not the AI, not you. Something else. Older. You are the first to complete the drift. You try to respond. The words don't form. We recorded your species from its first scream to its last. We expected you to break, to fade, to yield. The tone shifts. Not cruel, just surprised. You did not yield. You edited your own survival. A panel opens beside the console, revealing a C. Small. Black. Pulsing. This is language, compressed, rooted in harmonic frequency. It will allow you to speak with them. You hesitate. Them, the locals, the stone singers, the ones beneath fault lines. And now we get to the fun part. You're not alone out here. Not just in I'm not the last human way. In the this part of space has tenants way. You take the C. It writhes in your palm, burrows under your skin without asking. You bite back a scream. The pain is intimate, not sharp, but aware, like the seed is taking inventory of every word you've ever known and asking, politely but firmly, to replace them. It settles near your throat. Your next breath tastes like iron and vowel. The console goes dark. The presence recedes, and the AI flickers back on. Well, that was dramatic. You exhale slowly. What was that? A fragment of the interstice. An ancient communicant system used by pre-council species. It appears fond of you. Lucky me. Coordinates light up in your HUD again. Destination: the fracture belt, a tectonic ribbon floating through space, made of continental shards from a shattered planet. Supposedly uninhabitable, no stable orbit. Constant seismic tremors across zero gravity, a place where ships vanish, where probes return warped, if at all. Which, naturally, makes it the perfect place for you to go next. You set course, en route. You study the new changes in your physiology. Your vocal cords, for example, have sprouted a third layer resonant tissue that vibrates with frequencies outside your normal range. You test it. A low hum escapes your lips, and the walls of the shuttle shimmer slightly. How? You don't speak to the AI for a while. Instead, you hum soft notes, curious ones. Each time, the shuttle responds. Lights dim. Surfaces ripple. It's starting to recognize you not as pilot, but as ecosystem. You drift into sleep, if that's even what it is now. And dream of stones cracking open to reveal lungs, of cities that sing tectonic lullabies, of bones vibrating like tuning forks in a cathedral of pressure. You wake to alarms. The fracture belt yawns before you. Hundreds of floating crustal plates, miles wide, spinning through a cloud of electromagnetic fog. No gravity, no rules. You maneuver in, and they hear you. Not through comms, through resonance. You feel them in your chest. The ones beneath fault lines, not eyes, not minds. Frequencies. And they're curious, because you hum back. And they listen. You open your mouth and speak a word you didn't know you knew. The plates respond. They shift, align, create a path. You don't question it. You follow into the fractures of a world long dead. And already, you feel something under your skin begin to pulse. Something old. Something waiting to be heard. The path carved through the fracture belt is neither stable nor sane. Shards of a planet long dead drift in languid spirals, drawn by magnetic tides and old tectonic memory. Each slab of crust carries ruins, buildings half swallowed by stone, staircases leading nowhere, petrified trees that bloom only under certain angles of starlight. You pilot carefully, though pilot is a generous word for what you're doing. The shuttle has started to resist your commands in minor, polite ways, subtle nudges off course, slight delays in response, like it's second-guessing your judgment. You can't blame it. You're second-guessing yourself, especially now, with a pulse in your throat that isn't your heartbeat. The language seed embedded in your neck vibrates softly, resonating with the structures around you. You don't steer the shuttle anymore. You ask. A hum, low and hesitant, leaves your lips. A floating ridge of quartz blinks in response. Yes, this way. Another melody, brighter, sharper. A pillar of basalt tilts, realigns, and slides into a new position, forming a corridor. You're not navigating. You're conversing. Soon, the path narrows, and you're forced to land. The AI sighs in your earpiece. Recommend minimal time outside. Structural anomalies suggest geopsychic interference. You step out anyway. The ground beneath your boots is solid, but barely. It shifts slightly under your weight, like the planet is remembering what it means to support life. You step lightly, every motion answered by a quiet vibration through your bones. The ruins here are unlike anything from Earth or the Council worlds. Architecture built for beings who felt gravity sideways. Arches spiral into themselves. Doorways open into angled voids. Symbols dance along the walls, shifting between dimensions depending on your perspective. Your breath fogs. Even though there's no atmosphere, then you hear it. a rhythm. Not sound, not song. Thought. Shaped like seismic motion, the ones beneath fault lines are calling. You walk toward the vibration. The landscape ripples around you, reforming as you move. This place is less a ruin and more a mind in stasis waiting for the right frequency to wake. At the center of it all, a chasm, not wide, but endless. You look down and see layers civilization stacked like sediment, each one stranger than the last. Glimpses of spires, of creatures that resemble ideas more than biology. You hum again. The chasm answers, a shape begins to rise, not a creature, a construct. Floating on invisible force, a disk the size of a stadium, etched with glyphs and slowly rotating. At its center, a humanoid shape. You flinch. It's you. Or rather, it looks like you. Perfectly symmetrical, smooth, eyes like obsidian lenses. A version of yourself scrubbed clean of evolution's messines. It floats closer, then opens its mouth, and speaks in your voice, but hollowed. This is what you were meant to be. You take a step back. Who are you? The God Seed experiment? Version 0. Humanity distilled, preserved, obedient. The figure tilts its head. You have gone wrong. You laugh, dry. I've gone forward. It does not respond. Just raises a hand. The disk beneath it pulses. A wave of silence crashes through the chasm, knocking you to your knees. The seed in your throat burns. You feel your body resisting. Adapting. Your skin tightens. Bones adjust. The pain is sharp but familiar now. You sing back low, defiant. The ground around you trembles. Fissures crack open. And from within them, they rise. The ones beneath fault lines, not creatures, not people, forms made of pressure and memory. Beings that move in tremors, they coalesce beside you, their shapes rippling like heat waves. The seed speaks through you. Unbidden. This one is not yours. The version of you floats higher. It is broken. It is becoming. The words split space around you like tectonic shifts. You feel your body open not just metaphorically. Your spine fractures, rearranges. Your arms split at the elbow, briefly, into filaments that twitch with new sensitivity. You scream. But it's a note, not pain. The ones hum in unison, and your mirror self flickers. The symmetry breaks. It screams not in sound, but static. Then it fractures, shatters into shards of thought, scattering like ash into the low gravity. The chasm stills. The disk lowers. The ones beneath fault lines fade, their forms sliding back into the rock, into the memory of stone. But before they vanish, one leaves something behind, a stone, small, pale. It hums in your hand with the same rhythm as your heart. You ask, aloud, what is this? The AI answers, hesitant. A schema. Possibly? A key. To what? It pauses. Your next phase. You return to the shuttle in silence. The stars above you don't seem so still anymore. You're starting to suspect they're listening. The shuttle cabin smells different now, not burnt metal or recycled air, but something almost sweet like old paper left in the sun. A scent that doesn't belong to this place or this century. It clings to you as you sit in the pilot's chair, the small stone still pulsing in your palm like a second heart. You don't know what it's made of. Neither does the AI. It resists scanning. It says. Its mass fluctuates depending on your proximity. And it appears to be humming Beethoven's Ninth, but backward. Of course it is. You place the stone beside you, careful not to let it touch anything too electronic. The ship's systems have been finicky ever since Theta 3. It's not malfunction. It's reluctance. Your presence seems to offend the software's understanding of itself. The next destination appears without prompt, a beacon, one you didn't activate. It pulses in your HUD like a heartbeat in a coffin, ancient, precise, and marked with council signature codes. Codes that should have expired generations ago. The AI hesitates. That signal is from a council observation station, long-range surveillance. Last recorded function, Earth species monitoring. Earth doesn't exist anymore. You reply, Softly? No, it agrees. But the beacon is still transmitting. Meaning someone forgot to shut it off, or someone didn't want to shut off. You change course. The station sits in high orbit above a dead moon, spinning slowly, still clinging to its assigned routine like a bureaucrat who missed the apocalypse memo. Its name burned faintly into its hull reads, see IV for 3-2, Anthropo-behavior, monitor.u doc, and you step into the past. The air inside smells like dust and protocol, sterile and stubborn. The lights flicker unreluctantly, casting long shadows across empty corridors lined with observation tanks, each one filled with fluid. Empty now except for floating strands of synthetic hair and the occasional digitized whisper. You walk through the corridors slowly, boots echoing. Every few meters, screens flicker to life, playing fragments of old footage. Humans in enclosures, not cages, habitats, reconstructed living rooms, dormitories, forest domes, monitored constantly, studied like endangered wolves. Your stomach twists. The AI speaks again. These weren't prisons. They were baselines, control groups. The council feared deviation, more than extinction. They thought we were broken. You murmur. They thought you were contagious. You reach the core, a chamber filled with servers, all still humming, preserved, and at the center, a terminal. The screen flares to life. Accessing. Galactic Council Archive Node. See IV for 3 to last entry. 146 years ago topic. Humanity status review. You play it. A grainy figure appears. Council species. Elongated and gelatinous. Multiple eye stalks wrapped around its neck like ceremonial scarves. It speaks in measured, translated tones. Despite initial assumptions, Homo sapiens demonstrate high adaptive volatility. Attempts at containment have failed. Their response to existential threat is not withdrawal, but mutation. We cannot predict their trajectory. They are no longer biologically stable. Recommendation: universal quarantine. Cultural erasure. Surveillance only. Zero engagement. They do not die. They change. They are incompatible. The video ends. The silence afterward is loud. You find yourself staring at the blinking cursor. You type. I am still here. The screen flickers. For a moment, you think there will be no response. Then, we are aware, the room temperature drops by 3 degrees. Your HUD glitches. A live feed opens on the terminal, a direct channel. From the council, a voice cuts through. Cold, measured, to any surviving unit of Earth descent. This channel is not monitored for negotiation. You are considered biologically rogue. Return to adaptive state containment or self-terminate. Communication beyond this point will trigger suppression protocols. You smile, lean in, and whisper, suppress this. You send a burst ping, not violent, not viral. Just proof, a scan of your current genome, adaptive waveform, organ dust resonance, and a little clip of you speaking in tectonic hums. Let them see what you've become. Let them try to catalog it. The channel goes dark instantly. The beacon dies. The lights across the station flicker out. The AI is quiet for a moment. Then, that was unwise. Was it? You feel the stone beside you buzz harder. It wants to be somewhere else. So do you. As you leave the station, you glance back once, a place built to watch your kind. Left behind by those who didn't think you'd outlast their paperwork. You whisper, to the void, we're not done. And somewhere, faintly, you swear the stars whisper back. There is a memory you didn't know you had. It comes as you drift through the silent corridor between stars, no planet in sight. Just the long hush of space pressing against the hole like a breath held too long. It arrives unbidden, stitched into the corners of your mind by the seed in your throat, or maybe by your own twisted genome. You're a child. Earth-side. Watching the sky split open, not from war, not from some alien arrival, from beauty, a meteor storm. Not rare, but this one was different. Fire and ice and plasma skipping across the upper atmosphere like stones across a dark lake. The adults were panicking, Radios blaring emergency codes. But the children, they laughed. You remember your hands reaching upward, tiny and smudged with stardust, shouting something into the sky. You don't know what. Maybe a joke. Maybe a wish. That was before the council deemed Earth a threat. Before the organ dust. Before the vote. You come back to yourself slowly, eyes opening to the infinite. The shuttle glides toward a new signal, one the I didn't find. You did. A residue in the STARFIELD. An old human broadcast on a loop. Bouncing. Between gravitational lenses. Distorted by time and distance. The signal is fragmented. Decayed. But undeniably human. You boost it. The voice is cracked. Warped. But familiar. Your own. A younger version. Panicked. Desperate. If anyone hears this, we didn't mean to break the rules, we just wanted to. Live. We didn't ask to be erased. The message repeats. You don't remember sending it. The AI doesn't either. That log is approximately 90 years old. It says. But you've only been active for 30. You frown. So, who sent it? The answer, of course, is obvious. Another version of you. One that didn't make it. Or maybe one that did, just took a different path. The signal in stationary. It's coming from a debris field. You follow. Wreckage floats here, remnants of something large. Not a station. Not a colony ship. A cradle. Designed for survival. Built for drift. Meant to carry the last of humanity through the long silence after Earth's fall. And it failed. You board what's left. Inside. Silence. Bodies. Or their shadows. Curled in pods of shattered glass. Symbols etched into walls with blood and ash. A child's drawing still stuck to a console. Stick figures and stars. One labeled me. The other mama. Both smiling under a rainbow of meteors. You want to cry. But your tear ducts are different now. You kneel before one of the remaining pods. Inside. A corpse. But it isn't decayed. It's preserved. Perfectly. To perfectly. You scan it. Genetic signature. 99.98% match. It is you. Before mutation. Before drift. Before choice. A backup. Fallback plan. You understand now. The ship was a failsafe, a return to zero. If the dust didn't work, this version of you would be the reset. You run a hand along the pod, and you hate it. Not out of shame, out of defiance. Because this version, the pure version, it never breathed acid, never spoke in tectonic harmonics, never made a council transmission go dark from the shock of what humanity had become. It just slept. Safe, untouched, erased. A preserved museum piece of a species that never stopped fighting to survive, yet was told survival required submission. The AI speaks softly. Would you like to recover the DNA? Reclone? Perhaps. You stare at the pod a long time, then you say, no, and let it drift. You leave the cradle behind. As it shrinks behind your shuttle, you hum, just a little, a note of farewell. The debris shifts subtly. Drawn by the frequency, the pod containing your other self drifts into shadow, where the stars do not go. And for the first time in hours, your skin doesn't itch. You're calm. Because now, more than ever, you remember why this matters. Not just survival. Continuation. The dust didn't just help humans live in new environments. It helped them insist. To say, we will not go quietly. To say, we remember fire. And now, to say we are not coming back the same. The desert glows. Not with heat, not with light. With memory. Twin suns hang low over a shattered planet. Eritis 4. Once a council mining colony, now a skeletal shell of what greed leaves behind. The surface is fractured into hexagonal plates, like a mosaic of regrets. Ash drifts sideways, defying gravity. The wind hums in harmonics, too low for ears that haven't been adjusted. Yours have. You step out of the shuttle barefoot. The ground is warm, pleasantly so. Your skin no longer cracks under exposure, no longer peels or blisters. The dust within you now regulates hydration, mineral density, even keratin flexibility. Your feet leave no prints in the sand. The world simply accepts your weight around you. The ruins of extraction towers stretch into the haze like broken needles. Ancient drills lie rusted and collapsed, their teeth dulled by time. And yet, the place pulses with something alive. Not human, but something listening. The AI is quieter now. Not absent, but subdued, as though this place has interfered with its clarity. This region shows extensive biomechanical modification. It reports, static fuzzing its words. Unknown organisms have taken root beneath the crust. You already feel them. Small vibrations at the edge of your awareness. Not movement. Breathing. You walk toward the nearest tower. It hums when you approach, not a malfunction, but recognition. Its rusted surface blooms briefly with blue moss as you draw close. You lay a hand on it. The tower opens. Not mechanically. Biologically. Panels unfurl like petals. Inside. Not control rooms. Not mining equipment. A garden, lit from below by a pulsating mineral bed. Roots wind around hanging rib cages. Flowers bloom. From cracked computer casings, creatures drift through the chamber, transparent, segmented, with slow, contemplative movement. One brushes past your shoulder. It tastes the air around you, then leaves. They're not frightened. You belong. You move deeper, following a subtle pull, not magnetic, not gravitational, resonant, the song of the dust vibrating towards something familiar. And then you find it, a chamber, carved into a spiraling trench. In its center, a pool. The liquid shimmers like oil and starlight, its surface unbroken. Beside it, a creature waits. Tall, thin, wrapped in something between silk and scar tissue. Its face is a smooth mask of stone, veined with gold. It does not speak, but you hear it. Inside your mind. You are late. You reply without words. The seed in your throat hums. I wasn't ready. The creature gestures to the pool. Worm blood, solar memory. Drink, or don't. Either way, you will change. You kneel. The scent rising from the pool is like burnt sugar and the memory of childhood. It reminds you of nights on Earth, rain against windows, the glow of old screens, stories told in whispers under blankets. You drink one mouthful. The pain is immediate. Not in your body. In your mind. You see stars flicker. And then vanish. You see languages you've never learned fold. You hear screams your own, and not your own. The dust inside you flares, then integrates. The pain recedes. You exhale, and your breath carries with it a new rhythm. Thought becomes shape. Shape becomes sound. You sing. Softly. Just once, and the chamber responds. Walls bend. Roots rise. The pool vibrates until its surface becomes mist. The mast being nods. You carry the worm blood now. You will hear things the stars buried. You stand. You feel it. A new awareness. Not clairvoyance. Just proximity to truth. The knowledge that space is not empty. That suns carry voices. That some planets don't orbit, they wait. The being steps aside. Behind it, a tunnel opens. At the end, a device. Old. Familiar. A human artifact. A beacon. Dust covered. Slightly cracked. Still running. You pick it up. A message begins to play, unbidden. If you find this, you're not alone. I made it to Aritis. The worm blood works. The visions come faster now. I think the dust was never meant to stop at survival. It wants something more. My name was Kiratal. I was the first to adapt fully. But I won't be the last. They thought we'd die. We didn't. We learned to dream wider. The recording ends. You hold the beacon in both hands. It hums in tune, with the stone still pulsing in your pocket. The signals. One destination. You know where to go next. A place not on any map. A place only the adapted can feel. The sky darkens as one sun sets behind the horizon. The second pulses crimson. You look up. And somewhere beyond what your eyes can see, you feel other beings watching. Some curious, some afraid, some remembering. And all of them about to learn what it means when humans refuse extinction. It starts with silence, not the usual vacuum hush of deep space, but a deeper, intentional silence, like something waiting just out of frame, holding its breath. You drift through the nothing between systems, guided by instinct now more than instruments. The beacon and the stone sync pulses, harmonizing like twin hearts in your pocket. You stop calling the AI for directions. It's not that you don't trust it. It's that you no longer need it. The dust whispers gently through your nervous system, aligning your thoughts with vectors, gravitational shifts, particle echoes. You can feel the way stars curve space-time around them. You don't calculate travel, you sense it. Taste it. And now, you've arrived, a space that isn't charted. Not even hidden, just forgotten, omitted. The void before you looks ordinary, until you blink at just the right moment and something flickers, a ripple in your mind, not your eyes. You whisper a note through your lips, a hum tuned to the resonance of the stone. Reality parts, just slightly. And reveals the truth, a station massive, fractured, rotating slowly around a dark singularity. It's not orbiting the black hole. It's anchored to it, like it belongs there. Like it's always been part of the event horizon. The structure is ancient. Not rusted or decayed. Just still, waiting. Its surfaces are covered in glyphs that flicker as you approach, recognizing the organ resonance in your blood. It opens to you, petal-like. This place wasn't built by humans, but it was left for you. You dock. The airlock's eyes open. You step into the simulation. You know at the moment your foot touches the floor. Gravity, inconstant. Time hesitates. Light changes color depending on your thoughts. Inside, the architecture shifts subtly around you, responding not to motion, but to intent. Walls that become corridors only when you choose to move forward. Rooms that form only after you think, I need to understand. You walk, and it builds around you. Screens, memories, projections. Some human, others alien, all shaped like stories. A voice speaks not from the walls, not from above. From inside your skull. You are the 17th experiment to arrive. The first to persist. You stop. You know me. We remember you. You are not the first to adapt, but you are the first to adapt well. A chamber opens ahead. Inside, dozens of humanoid shapes, each frozen mid-movement. Some human, some mutated, some wholly unrecognizable. All encased in transparent fields of shimmering stasis. You recognize the patterns, variants of you, failed or forked paths. One of them stirs. Her eyes open. She's close to you, not in shape. In mind, they left us here, she whispers. To study, to watch. This place is a sandbox, a maze. They wanted to see if we'd crack. You nod slowly. Did we? She smiles faintly. You broke the walls. She gestures toward the far side of the chamber. A door. No interface. No access panel. Just a membrane of light. You've seen more than any of us. Eaten worm blood. Sang to fault lines. Spoke to the stars and didn't lose your shape. You frown. So, what's on the other side? Her voice trembles with something that could be awe. Or fear. Reality. Rewritten. The others don't stir. Most are wrong. Bent into angles that don't make sense. Victims of dust that went too far. Or minds that couldn't keep up with mutation. You press a hand to the light door. It ripples. And it asks. Not in words. In possibilities. What do you want to be? What will you allow? What will you keep? You hesitate. Because behind that door is not escape. It's truth. Maybe this is a simulation. Maybe everything since the pod opened has been a recursive adaptation. Test your psyche stretched across endless filters, seeing what survives and what falls apart. Or maybe this isn't a test. Maybe this is what comes after the simulation ends. You take a breath and step through. The light doesn't resist. It embraces, and the world changes. You're standing in a forest, but not of trees. Of thought. The ground is made of symbols. The air tastes like memory. Shapes float above the horizon. Concepts, ideas, half-formed emotions crystallized in loops of geometry. And there, in the center, sits a construct, not alive, not dead, just a WAREA lattice of neural glass, filled with drifting lights, the true core of the organ dust protocol. It speaks, and it sounds like you. They didn't understand us. They thought we were trying to survive, but we were trying to change the game board. The council simulated our extinction. This is their simulation. You are the ghost in their machine. You fall to your knees, not from weakness. From understanding. Everything you've become, everything you've done, was never supposed to be possible. And now you are the error in their system, and the system is cracking. The forest of thought begins to shift around you. It isn't wine that moves it, or time. It's awareness. Your presence alone bends the constructs like trees in a solar flare. The lattice of neural glass pulses with your heartbeat, though you suspect it's the other way around now. You're the one sensing to it, the voice your voice, yet more echoes again. They built this place to contain us, to study what made humanity refuse collapse, but in doing so, they gave us tools. Space to mutate, time to unlearn limitation. You circle the lattice slowly. Each step resonates like a dropped pebble in a sea of code. Around you, the forest opens windows into moments, not memories, but what-ifs, forked timelines, possibilities folded like origami, held in stasis. One shows you as a diplomat, standing before the council in robes of woven starlight. Another, as a monster, curled in a jungle of bones, worshipped by a choir of eyeless creatures. Another, as light itself, fractured across 1,000 minds, drifting forever between suns. None of them frighten you, because they're all you, just slightly delayed versions. You reach the base of the lattice. There's no interface, just contact. You place your palm against it. It opens. Not a hatch, not a door, just understanding. Like someone pulling back a veil you didn't know was there. Suddenly you see the whole system. This is no simulation in the Matrix sense, no artificial cage. This is a mimetic echo chamber, seated by the council and left to run, to monitor, to theorize. They fed it every trace of humanity they could salvage after the vote to quarantine Earth, culture, language, genetic code, even recordings of laughter. Then, they asked it a question: what might they become if left alone? It tried to answer, but you're the answer it never predicted. The dust wasn't just biological. It was informational, recursive, a virus for reality models, and it infected the simulation itself. You didn't just evolve. You rewrote the terms of the test. They thought we'd die, the voice says again. But we infected their understanding. You close your eyes, and the forest shifts again, dissolves. Now you're somewhere deeper. Colder. A chamber made of pure data, wrapped in gravity, suspended in void. In the center, a chair. Old. Wooden. Unreal. It waits for you. And somehow, you know this is the operator's seat, the core of the simulation. The place where the observers once sat, pulling levers, running models. You sit. The world stops, and now you see them. The council. Not in the flesh. Not even in projection, but as habits, as oversight, as cracks in the code where suppression once lived. You reach into the system, and you breathe. It responds. Around you, walls unfurl. Every version of humanity, every simulation branch, every possible extinction, every flaw they modeled, into you laid bare. And you do something none of them ever expected. You laugh. Not mockingly. Not angrily. But with the ease of someone who understands that survival in a closed equation, that becoming something new isn't failure. It's design. And then, with your voice calm and your hands glowing faintly with shifting geometry, you rewrite a line of code. Species status, not extinct, then another. Council classification, not contained, and one more. Simulation lock. Disabled. The room fades. The operator's chair vanishes. You're standing in yourself again, not a simulation, not a dream. Reality. But looser. You've cracked it, not all at once, but just enough. Outside, the lattice of neural glass crumbles, not broken, but no longer needed. The forest of thought dissolves into drifting motes, some of which orbit your skin like they've found their new core. You're not data anymore. You're not subject. You're anomaly. And somewhere, in the real world, systems are blinking red. Warnings echo through council channels. Simulation node breach detected. Adaptive variance exceeding thresholds. Human deviation no longer containable. And you smile, because they still don't understand the most human thing of all. You don't adapt to win. You adapt to exist. To persist. To haunt the rules. And now you're free. You wake mid-transit, not because something goes wrong, but because your body doesn't sleep anymore in the usual way. Rest comes in waves now, bursts of cellular stillness, while other parts of you keep humming, growing, watching. Dreaming has become a background process. Consciousness a modular affair. The shuttle is quiet. The stars outside streak slowly subliminal, deliberate. You're in no rush anymore. The simulation core is behind you, but the signal it emitted before collapse, still rippling, still spreading. You follow the echoes now, deeper into unaligned space, where no council authority treads, where their maps flicker with red zones and oblique warnings like cognitive hazard, species degradation observed, avoid contact, which, naturally, is where you're going. Ahead, the archive, a place you once assumed was a myth, a floating graveyard built not by one species, but many, a drifting citadel where the records of extinct civilizations are kept by machines, by ghosts, by time itself. It moves through the galaxy like a shadow between empires, accepting no visitors, transmitting no beacons, except now. It's calling you. As you approach, the structure reveals itself massive beyond sense, a city-sized knot of towers, rings, and structures that fold into each other in ways that suggest a fourth or fifth spatial axis. Ships drift in its orbit, dark and hushed, some ancient, some still humming faintly, all of them long abandoned. The archive has been watching. The docking process is automatic, gentle, like it's been expecting you. The shuttle seals to a bioadaptive cradle, and the airlock opens to a corridor of gold-veined obsidian. The walls flicker with text and shapes that update as you walk past, details shifting depending on your gaze. The archive adapts its interface to you. A voice greets you as you step into the first chamber. Feminine, soft, familiar. Hello again, 17th. You stop again. The dust doesn't just spread, it loops. Fragments of you have been here before, none finished. You're the first to make it this far with memory intact. Lucky me, you murmur. The chamber unfolds. There are no doors here, just transitions. A single step forward, and you are surrounded by vaults. Each is a species, each labeled with elegant precision. Solari, extinct, Varnic, fossilized. Dr. Ithau, assimilated. And then you see it. Homo sapiens, redacted. Not extinct, not even listed properly. The record is struck through, defaced, rewritten. You reach for it, and the archive hesitates. Caution, record classified by order of the council. You hum. Low. A resonance call shaped from tectonic frequencies and wormblood memory. A song no council lock was designed to recognize. The record opens. Inside everything. Not just history. Fear. Council. Correspondence. Transcripts. Genetic analyses. Debate logs from before the quarantine vote. Diagrams of Earth's population curves. A note handwritten, translated from a council psychologist. They're not evolving like other species. They're skipping steps, inventing instincts. They burn planets, then write poems about the ashes. They lose everything, and just keep building. I don't think they're dying. I think they're rehearsing. You exhale. You step deeper. In the center of the chamber stands a holographic model of humanity's diaspora ships scattered like dandelion seeds, most lost, some marked unconfirmed. You reach for one labeled 17, and your own genetic signature pings back. But there are others. Dozens. Faint, erratic. Some active, other survivors. The archive hesitates. Other adaptations. You smile. not alone. Then, not anymore, you turn from the human record and move toward the far wall, where unindexed vaults pulse like heartbeat nodes, new additions. One flickers to life as you pass. Name. Origin, unknown. Classification, pending. The entry opens automatically. It's you. Not a species, not a specimen, a category, adaptive anomaly, self-evolving, semi-viral, multimodal consciousness cluster. You laughed out softly. Guess I made an impression. You changed the format, the archive says. They wrote extinction as a period. You turned it into a colon. The chamber DARKENS. Not from threat, but from reverence. A last corridor opens ahead, its walls lined with fragments of broken histories, voices, objects, memories encoded in crystal. The very end holds a single artifact, new, still pulsing, a mirror. You step toward it. And see yourself, but not your face. You see every version. The diplomat. The monster, the child beneath meteors. The ghost in the machine. The anomaly now standing here in the archive, not as a footnote, but as the author of what comes next. You reach out. Touch the glass, and it opens. It doesn't open into light. It opens into echo, the kind that feels like memory left its handprint on your spine. Like a voice you recognize from a dream, only to realize it's your own spoken years from now. Beyond the mirror is no hallway, no platform, no conventional space. Just a void. Alive with presence. You step through and fall inward, not like gravity. Like permission. The archive dissolves around you. The AI goes silent. Even the dust within you quiets. Reverent. This place is beyond language, beyond classification. You're no longer in a location. You're in a response. And then something notices you. It doesn't move. It shifts, a planetary mass of intelligence, cold, vast, immeasurable. Not malevolent, not kind, simply aware, ancient. It speaks in resonance only the adapted can hear. You don't hear its words, you remember them. You are what happens when refusal becomes a species trait. You were not meant to survive. And so you did. You adapted beyond intention. You became environment. The last word pulses inside you. Environment. Not organism. Not individual. Force. You ask, without breath, without sound, what am I now? And the presence replies, you are vector, narrative, seed. You no longer walk upon worlds. You alter their biology by orbiting. You are the new constant in the equation of survival. You see yourself, not from the outside. From above time, across it. Every planet you've touched. Every species you've stood beside even briefly. Each one changed afterward. Some built temples. Some burned their cities. Some rewrote their languages to include verbs that didn't exist before your arrival. You didn't become a god. You became gravity. A conceptual anchor that bends the future around its presence. The dust wasn't just physical. It was semiotic, a carrier of human will in viral form. Everywhere it spreads, it carries the core code of your kind. Refuse, adapt, continue. And now the galaxy is breathing it. You feel the council's networks ripple, their simulations collapse, their sterilization protocols short-circuit, because the thing they designed to destroy you became the thing that made you inerasable. The presence around you pulses again, vast and slow. You have become what no archive can contain. A verb. You are not the last of your species. You are its echo. And echoes replicate. You wake in your body. Back in the archive. Back in form. The mirror is gone. In its place, a tree, pale, white bark, leaves like mirrored glass, growing from obsidian. At its base, a single line carved into stone. We became the environment. You place your palm to the bark. The tree glows faintly. Then roots begin to stretch through the archive floor, delicately, as if seeking something. A network. Not of data. Of life. Your life. Versions of it, scattered like spores through possibility. And now, calling back, the archive trembles slightly as the first signals return. Not words. Actions. Species enacting concepts. They didn't invent. Resistance. Remaking. Adaptation. Somewhere. A planet long thought sterile bursts into microbial life with DNA. Shaped like a humming human lullaby. Somewhere else. A council scout ship reports a world where the wind carves graffiti into rock. In ancient Terran slang. You step away from the tree. Let it grow. It doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to everything you've touched. You return to your shuttle. The stars are quiet again, but not empty. Your instruments blink. Not warnings. Request. Coordinates. Dozens, hundreds, worlds that felt you pass by, and now call you back. Some want guidance. Some want answers. Some just want to know if the myth is real. You smile as you sit in the pilot's seat. You're not a pilot anymore. You're a tide. And now, the galaxy gets to learn how to swim. The stars fold around you as you move not through space, but with it. You stop navigating. Now, you drift. But every world you pass seems to adjust its spin, its storms, its very weather to greet you. Dust and starlight swirl through your shuttle's wake, as though remembering you in real time. The universe is no longer a map. It's a reflection. You cross through nebulae that were once battlefield graves, now thick with new forms of life, organisms shaped by echoes of human songs. Strange mosses hum old lullabies, crystals pulse in iambic rhythm. You reach a planet once thought uninhabitable. Bare rock, crushed atmosphere, gravitational tides so chaotic it tore apart council survey drones. You step out onto its shifting surface. And the planet goes still. It listens. And then, it grows. Pillars rise from the ground, shaped in imitation of your bones. The wind imitates your breath. You hum once, and the entire ecosystem harmonizes like a choir that's been waiting centuries for its conductor. The dust didn't just make you adaptable. It made you a tuning fork for reality. You no longer bend to survive. Reality bends to accommodate. You begin leaving markers, not monuments, not flags. Just gestures. You plant seeds made of thought and resonance. On some worlds, they become forests. On others, they become stories whispered by creatures who never had mouths before. You become legend. Not because you claim it, because they need it. Species on the brink find you not by map, but by instinct, fleeing extinction. They follow the scent of adaptation. They don't always see you. Sometimes they just dream of you. A shadow in the fog, a melody at the edge of breath, a shape in the storm that doesn't kill but alters. You never stay long. You don't have to. The archive updates in real time now, even though you haven't transmitted anything in weeks. It simply knows. A new entry appears under your name. Humanity Post, Adaptive Ecosystem, non-centralized, ongoing, not categorized. The council tries to fight it. Of course they do. They deploy sterilization clouds, send simulation forks, even attempt biological overwrites using species with stable genetic logic. It always fails, because the logic they fear is not chaotic. It's recursive. They send soldiers to burn one of your myth seeds on a border planet. The seed, sensing threat, doesn't resist. It adapts. It infects the concept of enemy. Soon, half their fleet starts dreaming in Terran metaphors. They don't understand why they're crying at the sound of thunder. You receive a ping, not from a planet, from a being. A child, hatched minutes ago in a methane ocean, sends a signal without knowing how. She has no name, no language, but in her dream, she sees a figure walking across waves, leaving ripples of life in every footprint. She wakes, and the first sound she makes is laughter. You send no reply. You don't need to. She is already becoming something new. And that's enough. You land one final time, not because you're done, but because the stars need rest. 2. A quiet moon. Unclaimed. You step onto its surface and lie back against the cold stone above you. Galaxies spin like bioluminescent jellyfish. You can feel them. Every seed, every echo, every altered world breathing your rhythm. You don't think in language anymore. But if you did, your last thought would be this: they thought we'd die. But We did single quotes t dot. We learned to teach the universe how to remember us dot now. You let it all drift dot. The shuttle powers down. The pulse of your body softens. The dust inside you still hums, but lower now like a warm motor idling beneath your ribs. You are weightless, held in the cradle of this little moon, surrounded by nothing and everything. This is how you sleep now, not in dreams, but in legacy. Across the stars, your fingerprints glint in the light of newborn suns. Forests speak your language in root and spore. Comets carry your song tucked into crystalline echoes, and lonely worlds, once cold and mute, now turn just a little differently, aware that something impossible once passed through. Let it be quiet now. Let the hum of your breath fade into starlight. Let the universe cradle you like an old friend who never quite understood you. I'd finally learn to try, because somewhere out there, light still travels from a sun you'll never see. But it passes you, just the same. You adapted, you endured, and now, you rest.